This episode, we're going to talk about stuff from the 80s that we loved as kids.
Like big screen stuff. Bringing it to the big screen. Some of it didn't work. Needs another shot.
Yeah. We'll talk about how maybe we can change it for the better. Anyway, hit the tape. Like I said on the upfront, we're going to talk about some of the stuff we loved as kids. Cartoons, toys,
TV shows,
hell, even comics.
even movies
But
that need a second chance.
yeah, they need the big Hollywood treatment. Could it create new universes? Who knows? But what is something that you would love to see now?
I think the easiest one is Masters of the Universe.
Oh yeah.
It's so like screaming for a. And let me be clear, I know there's 1,000 people out there that say that Hollywood doesn't do anything new, and to some extent you're correct.
Yeah.
And to some extent you're also incorrect. There's all these great products that came out in the 80s, and these great toy lines, these great TV shows, and some of them were even movies. I'll even throw the old Flash Gordon from the late 70s, early 80s. That is screaming for a remake. My opinion, I would love to see an updated Flash Gordon film.
Traditionally, that movie cannot be remade.
No.
That stands on its own.
No, but
it can never be touched.
No, I agree, but I would like to see an updated Flash Gordon film. That's all, I guess, is what I'm really getting at. And in that vein, one of the greatest shows, and we don't ever really talk about it, from the very late 80s, which I think is just ripe for a movie, reboot, what have you. Defenders of the Earth was one of the best cartoons. It was really good animation for the time. It was great because it had all these iconic characters like Flash Gordon, Mandrake the Magician, and the Phantom, which really is only a huge star in Australia. For whatever reason, but that just seems to be where he's got his, major fan base is based there. But that would be a great series.
Now hold up.
Go ahead.
Let's imagine a world where Netflix could possibly lose its.
I think that's perfect.
Its Marvel properties.
And if I'm Netflix, I'd be looking right now.
Wouldn't that be cool to have an anthology?
Absolutely.
Phantom, Flash Gordon, Mandrake.
Absolutely. Do 4,
and then into, right.
And then lead it into Defenders, where Ming is coming, and they have to come together to defend her.
Of course, it being a little bit more gritty, but you could make it feel earnest, not forced. You know what I mean?
Well, Flash in and of himself is an earnest character. I mean, it's become campy because everyone remembers the 80s TV show, but I'm saying Flash himself was a guy. I mean, he's not unlike John Carter, right? He gets thrown into this situation. There's another one, but I'm saying Flash gets thrown into this situation, and what does he do? He inadvertently becomes Spartacus. He leads a revolt against, Ming and the forces of evil of Mongo. I think that is a great concept. I think it's something that just screams to be redone.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see it land at something like Netflix. I think that would be fantastic. I really do.
That could be really fun.
It could be a blast, I would watch an 8-episode series of The Phantom. I would watch an 8-episode of Mandrake. Introduce the kids, because that was part of the allure to Defenders of the Earth. The daughter, the son, I think it's perfect to fill in that Marvel void that's going to inevitably be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But they also have the Malar universe, which their first thing to that is to do a comic, which I found surprising, not a show. But anyway.
That would be a topic for another time, and a good one, I might add. But I think we should get back to Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
Masters of the Universe begs to be remade.
Now, of course,
Go ahead.
maybe I will play the devil's advocate this episode, but in my mind, to equate, okay, a He-Man movie, how would that put asses in seats? Make it Lord of the Ring-ish? Be serious with it?
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more of an attempt made to pull some of the iconic concepts of Masters of the Universe into the film. Where the Dolph Lundgren movie failed for a multitude of reasons, but where it failed is that guy kind of looked like Man-at-Arms.
Right.
That guy kind of, or that girl kind of looked
keys!
like...
Did not look like Orko at all.
Of course not,
we wanted.
but they couldn't afford to do Orko,
Right.
you know what I mean? So if we look at the Masters of the Universe film from 1986, right?
I believe, yeah.
The character that translates the best to the big screen is Skeletor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't understand what they were going for, because there is no transformation properties. He's just a normal sword swinging dude. That, I think, that's one of the...
No Battle Cat?
No Battle Cat.
You know, you didn't...
No sorcerers for the most...
No, that's
I
what
mean,
I'm
there
saying.
was,
but you didn't have the iconic look. You know, if you didn't want He-Man to look like He-Man from the TV show, the cartoon, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But give him at least the centerpiece of his buckler. Give him the sword that looked like his sword. You know, there were so many things that they just flat out missed.
So that's why I would say if they would redo that, handle the whole thing seriously, and how to say this, you need to trust in its, not silliness, but its whimsical
Well, yeah,
side.
absolutely. There needs to be that.
Yes.
There needs to be that.
So there needs to be a juggling act there of, yes, that's a talking cat, and goddamn it, it's awesome that you're not pulled out. You know, they need...
There's a happy medium
Yeah.
that can be maintained from the TV, the cartoon, to the film. You know, and with that, in my opinion, being said, that's where the failure was with G.I. Joe.
And we don't need a forced origin either.
No, I don't need that.
You come right in.
You can introduce me right as Prince Adam and...
Exactly.
You know.
I mean, you can pepper it in as flashbacks, but don't give us a whole half of a movie of, you know, his discovery. I mean...
Well, no, I don't need that.
I
don't need... We
want to see some ass-kicking, cool fantasy.
If you want to spend
sci-fi
20
stuff.
minutes on it, you know, maybe a young Prince Adam, different actor as a kid, realizes that shit's going down. But within 15 to 20 minutes of the film, we see a full-grown Prince Adam, an established He-Man, an established Man-at-Arms, an established Skeletor as the villain in this. You know, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. And I think if it's done well and handled correctly, it could do very well in the theaters.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. What's going to get the asses to the seats? It's the same thing that got Transformers asses in the seats. You know what I mean? The potential is there.
Yes.
You know, we're at Transformers 47 right now, and they're all unwatchable for the most part, okay? Which brings me to the next one that screams it, that needs to be just done correctly. G.I. Joe. We've gotten 2 movies. They've been attempts made. The problem with G.I. Joe is you're not handling it correctly. These should be war movies. That's what they should be. They don't need to be a comic book that comes to life in this.
Correct.
Okay? You just need to make these guys the elite fighting force, and guess what? Everyone will come right to it.
See, that is the one thing from the first movie that bugged me, was we're going to make it realistic. This is the Army now. These are the Marines now. But then you do something so effing stupid than have them in those power suits doing cartwheels off of buses.
Was completely unneeded.
That
Completely unneeded.
Rex, not Cobra Commander, whatever. You know, that whole debacle.
War movie.
Yes.
Just a basic war movie. You can make Cobra a terrorist organization. They don't have to be in super suits as Vipers. They could be guys running around in fatigues. If you want to cover their face to give them some element of mystery, that's fine. If you want to do Destro, that's fine. Make that mask believable. There's 100 ways to do it, okay? The Dreadnoughts, they're a biker gang. That would not be that difficult to translate into a real live-action film.
Right.
It's just a matter of how it's handled. Right. The property isn't handled correctly on the big screen.
Unfortunately, my mind goes right to period piece. Set it in the 80s.
Well, that makes it even better. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's where it came from. Right, exactly. I think part of the problem with that is trying to amp it up and make it, which you could do. You can make these guys Desert Storm veterans or what have you. I mean, it can be done. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm more nostalgic towards the 80s, so I would love to see that Vietnam influence. I don't disagree. Any properties you can think of that need that little swift kick
really
in the...
weird. The one thing that popped into my head as soon as we started talking about this would be the topic, Jason the Wheeled Warriors. You could make a movie
that could be a lot of
Fast
fun.
and the Furious.
That could be a lot of fun, yes.
With your high-octane racing aspects, but add cars with augmentations to them, like giant claws and guns. And
I think that would be a lot of fun. And I would even do that more as a kid's themed movie.
But the thing is, you could make it Guardians of the Galaxy.
You could.
You wouldn't even need to follow... I mean, the original cartoon was pretty cool, but you wouldn't even need to follow that.
No, I would abandon that source material, to be
because
perfectly honest with you.
Because the original toys...
They didn't represent
this. No, they had no characteristics whatsoever.
No, not at all. Nope.
So...
Nope. Failed there, trying to bridge those two gaps.
But you have super fast cars in space with augmentations versus plant-based villains, which perfect for a kids movie.
I agree.
There's no blood. They're plant-based.
Lots of green goo.
And they have bioorganic vehicles.
Yeah, you could have fun with that.
Yeah.
You could see, what I mean, growing the villain as opposed to, but yeah, I think that would be done. I'll tell you another thing. I think that would be perfect for an updated animated as well.
Yeah.
You could easily do this and make it very enjoyable and easy to watch, especially young kids, because young boys, because of the car aspect of it. I know your son going through it, my son went through it, but I think it's very easily to do. I
but the
totally
thing
agree.
is, I mean, even the original cartoon. The thing is, with this, we had strong female characters in cartoons and stuff.
Absolutely.
That's just how it was, You
didn't think anything about
it. Right. I mean, so
Lady J, Scarlet, Baroness, Chitara, She-Ra, Teela. I mean,
but with Wheeled Warriors, you had the little sister. Headstrong kid character. That wasn't annoying.
Yeah, you're right about that.
That would be.
You're right about that. You don't always need. Right. You don't always need the annoying whatever. Not everybody needs to be Spritle and... Yeah. Anything else?
I don't know, but I want to point out when you talked about annoying Glomer from the Punky Brewster cartoon came into my head. Yeah.
He was no great Kazoo. Anyway. But yet again, I would like to see... especially with what is inevitably going to happen to some of these streaming services with Netflix and so forth and so on, there are these properties. Netflix, you need to look at things like Silverhawks, Thundercats. These things are begging. If you want to do them animated, I think that's a great idea too. Yeah. If you don't want to do a live action,
you cannot do Silverhawks live. It would end up looking like a Transformers movie where it's just shiny porn. I have no idea what the hell is going on. There's just mechanical things slamming into each other. Those movies are a mess. They give me a headache.
They are a mess.
You're like, who won? I feel like a geriatric watching it like, oh, I like the red one. Oh, what do you mean he's the bad one?
Yeah,
he
really.
Looks cool.
He looks really cool.
Because you have no idea. A Transformer will just pop up out of the street. Hey, is it good? Is it bad? I have no idea.
Nope.
So... that would be something to see a Transformers movie done.
Yeah, properly. I agree.
And this is something that we got into in the past episode, but Transformers and G.I. Joe both had fantasy elements to them.
They did.
And the cartoon. I mean,
Yeah, the Weather Dominator.
yeah.
Pyramid of Darkness.
If you really want to commit, do something like that, but make it scary. You know what I mean?
Well, Transformers could be scary. They've just elected not to be scary. Um, which, look, the first two films were fine. They were entertaining. That's all I ever asked
The
for.
first one
you know.
more than the second.
Well,
one.
yeah, fair enough. But I'm saying they were entertaining. But you've lost your mojo, whatever. I don't know what the to call it. But here's the thing I don't understand. There are literally hundreds of Transformer characters.
Yeah.
And there's literally a great backstory and mythos long before Michael Bay got involved. And you've pretty much abandoned that. You haven't really done a lot with it. You could have... Transformers 3 should have been on Cybertron. If you're going to make a Transformers 3, it's where the mistake was made.
Right.
I've already know what the Transformers look like. I already know how they behave on Earth. I already know that there's a battle between the Decepticons and the Autobots for the Earth and whatever else. I already know all that. You've done all this. Go to Cybertron. What's going on in Cybertron while the Decepticons and the Autobots have been duking it out on Earth? What is happening? You know what I mean? That's where the failures are for some of these franchises right now. They're just going with a formula and that's it. Same thing with G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, look, the second G.I. Joe film, aspects of it were so much better than the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It harkened more to the comic.
Absolutely. But still, it's not really the movie I wanted to see. There was aspects that I enjoyed thoroughly, but it's not that G.I. Joe film. You know what I mean? It's not what I wanted to see. You said Lord of the Rings earlier.
Yeah.
The one thing that needs a Lord of the Rings type aspect to it is Thundercats. Okay? You could apply some of that fantasy element that we're talking about to a Thundercats live action film. Everything about it is prepared for that.
I'll straight up say the original Thundercats thrives only on nostalgia.
Absolutely. The cartoon's terrible.
But the new one that they did in 2012 or whatever.
Yeah, the one, the short-lived one, whatever.
As sad as it was, that had so much heart to it, world building, that is what I'd rather see, if you had to pick a Thundercats property to make a movie of. Because they broke it down that, like the different mutant races had different towns and, really neat stuff.
Yet again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Peter Jackson, but I'm saying Peter Jackson would be a perfect person, especially with the Weta Workshop, to really take this and take it to another level. I think it would be very enjoyable. And I also think it could be very bankable. There's a strong...
Especially if you kind of abandoned the original animation look and went with them looking more feline.
Sure. I don't need Lion-O to look like Ronald McDonald. With the animation style that, you know what I mean? You could have done that different ways. Give him a ponytail, whatever you want to do. Panthro could have been, I'm looking at you, Rock, but there's 100 ways to handle that film. And with that fantasy element, with the science element, that is one to me is just like waiting to be, just treated as a big screen. You know what I mean? I'll tell you my last one that I would really like to see come back and bring into the forerunner is more or less, I would love to see M.A.S.K. Same exact kind of concept of what we're talking about with Transformers. All the cars that are on the market right now, all these awesome cars, the Veyrons, the Nishirans, and the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, and all these different cars, whatever, Jeep Wranglers and Ducatis, pick the licensing. I mean, that could pay for the movie in and of itself with all these different cars and stuff like that. And have them do that transformable feature. Okay, well, this Subaru WRX now flies. Whatever, okay? This motorcycle's now a jet ski. This helicopter turns into a jet. Yet again, this could be a fun movie, a fun hour and 45-minute film, or even better, bring it back in a cartoon format.
Yeah, definitely.
Put it on Netflix. Put it on, Hulu. Put it on one of the other streaming services. This is a franchise that's ripe for a remake, in my opinion.
It is. I mean, unfortunately, what was playing through my head when you were saying that was, what about as a TV show?
I'm fine with that too.
But then my mind instantly went back to, unfortunately, they don't exist anymore. But the UPN afternoons with Xena and
Well, yeah, but you know what? You're right. You're right. You're exactly right. Those don't exist anymore.
Right.
You're exactly right. But that's the great thing. The Netflixes are
Right.
there, and they are the ones taking those risks on those shows. You know what I mean? So,
But no, it's also a fear that it would be turned into that cheesy Highlander-esque.
okay,
You know.
all right. I see what you're saying. Low budget, put it together, a week's worth of filming
Right.
for one episode.
It would need to be something, I think, that you would need to be on a grand scale to be taken seriously.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
With things like Stranger Things. So who would have thought
Right, but that
You know.
show works on a very
different level?
organic level.
On a different level.
Realistic
but
level.
part
Right.
of it, part of the entertainment factor, I know for you and for me, is the fact that it is our wheelhouse. It is our childhood
yeah.
that's coming
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
life right in front of us. I think some of this, yet again, could very easily do the same thing again. That's all. That's
No,
all.
I
That's
agree.
all.
I agree.
I mean, Netflix is talking about a Lord of the Rings TV show.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's great. Anytime I can go back and play
Yeah,
in
oh,
that
yeah,
world
yeah, I'm
for
very-
a couple
yes.
more hours, I'm all for.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? I'm all for. But anyway, these are just a couple. This is going to
yeah.
be a recurring theme that I think we're going to do more and more.
Definitely.
There's TV stuff we didn't even hit on tonight. There's other
There's some old
cartoons that
80s comics.
Yeah, the old 80s comics, old 80s cartoons that we didn't even hit on. We pulled a deep cut tonight with Jace and Defenders. Throw something out there. So tell us what you think. Tell us
yeah.
that something you want to get a little bit of a push and a bring back.
Or the ideas we had. Do you have a whole different way of looking at some of them?
Or do you believe that some of this stuff should just be left sleeping dogs lie kind of thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is fine too,
It is. And some things...
Did we really need a Gem and the Holograms film?
If they would have done it properly.
All right, fair enough.
There's
I
no,
would-
there's
yeah, you're
no
right.
like
You're right. You're right. I would have seen it.
supercomputers, magic, none of that.
Synergy. I'm sorry, I know that.
Anyways.
Just exposed myself. Sorry.
Oh, you can't do that nowadays.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Anyway,
Like,
keep being rad.
stay dorky.
Catch you next time.